staff.am and HIreBee.ai, which is a software as a service platform, while staff.am and our other platforms in other countries, they are career marketplaces. So we started as a marketplace, then we developed part of our product and made it as a separate product. And we're building an HR ecosystem that will cover the entire value chain of recruitment. Currently, we're targeting CIS markets, which is like former Soviet Union countries. Currently, it's Armenia, Kazakhstan, other Central Asia countries, and we're targeting to launch in Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, and Georgia by the end of this year. This is about our marketplace platform, while HIreBee.ai, the SaaS platform, it is targeting the global market and is not limited to the countries where we have actual offices, but rather is open to anyone who wants to use a very efficient and cool platform. I have more than 15 years of corporate background before starting staff.am, before getting into startups. And Annajan, if you don't mind, I can already share my presentation where I have short information about myself.
Sure, we can share this.
So that our participants have more understanding about my background and about the information that I'm going to share with you. The presentation will be in three parts. After each part, we can have a question and answer, or we can leave it to the end. We will let Anna to manage that part, so I will just follow her instructions. Today we're going to talk about hiring, building startup teams, and of course managing teams. Mainly we will be focusing on the main principles that work for startups. I will bring some examples international, and I will be happy to answer your questions. Quickly about myself. As I said, I had around 15 years of corporate experience prior to starting staff.am. I started as an engineer, then moved to banking industry, where I was in management, in business development, in IT management. And then 4 years ago, I have started staff.am with my brother. And within 12 months after initial launch, it became the leading career platform. Then last year, we launched it in Kazakhstan. It's a country within CIS. And this year, we have launched it in 3 more countries. Plus, we opened representative offices, like we have representatives in Moscow, London, and Vienna, who are working with potential customers for HIreBee.ai. HIreBee.ai is an AI-based recruitment platform that covers the entire recruitment chain. I hold Ph.D. in engineering, and I'm a certified project manager, PMP, and I'm also visiting lecturer at European Regional Academy. I have 3 wonderful boys. This is all about me. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there. Let's start. The presentation will be delivered in 3 parts. The first part, we will talk about general principles. Then we'll speak about 6 main pillars and talk about mistakes that founders usually do and what should we avoid. And the third part will be about assignment. We will just, let's start, and we will cover all the things as we go on. The most important statistics that every startup should know when they start is that 23% of startups fail because of not having the right team. What it means that all the reasons that might lead to a startup failure, such as lack of funding, co-founder burnout, lack of product market fit, etc., quite a big share takes the team. And 23%, it's quite a big number. Just a couple of ideas, food for thought. There is no such thing as a solo entrepreneur. Even if for some startups we see one person as the main figure for that startup or for that company, there's got to be a big support team or someone else that helped the main entrepreneur to scale and to grow. The second food for thought is that sell your idea to your team like you're selling it to your customers. Your initial team you should have your initial team's buy-in. They should believe in your product like your customers should believe. So if they believe in it, your customers will too. And your initial team will be your ticket to success. And I can tell you that from my personal experience, it's important to share the same passion towards your idea of what you do. Creating a startup, starting a company is quite difficult. It has got a lot of challenges, obstacles. From time to time, you're going to want to quit everything, and it is important to have people next to you who share your passion and who will be a good supporter in case you decide to do so. So this slide has two sections of statements, and in some manner they are controversial. So the first one is look for people who are close to you in spirit, but at the same time they think differently. What does it mean? Is that you have to think about diversity right from the start. You don't want to create a team where everybody agrees with you, or everybody agrees with just one idea and no one challenges it. But from another point of view, it's important to have people close to you in spirit. So you want risk takers, but who are grounded and realistic. So you want people who understand and who can evaluate their strengths, their opportunities realistically, but at the same time are not afraid to take risks and to go to uncertainty. They should be self-aware and clearly understand their strengths and weaknesses. From another point, they should challenge the status quo and always aim for more. I know that I am good at sales. That's it. I don't want to do anything else. Or vice versa. I hate sales. I'm not going to talk to customers anymore. Someone else should do it. No, it's not the right way. You should challenge yourself and your team to go for more and to challenge the status quo on their side. Think big from one point and fairly evaluate all options. We will be talking about think big again, and it's important to fairly evaluate all options. I have seen for past 4 years startups from all over the world, and in Armenia in particular, that were presenting a very big idea, a very cool idea, but they haven't been evaluating all options fairly. There is a saying, boiling the ocean, so you should be cautious to hire people who want to think big, but they don't boil the ocean. So if one of the success factors that we had, and I'm saying this by going back and looking at what we've done right from the start, was hiring strategically, not just for a startup. Because when you're thinking that, you know, right now you have this startup, you have these 5 problems, and you need to cover them, you need someone or a couple of people to do the job for you, and that's it. You will find people, they will solve these problems for you, but they might not be a main team for you for the coming months, and not and even years. So think strategically and don't hire for a startup. Think for years ahead. Of course, it's difficult for startups to think beyond 6 months, 12 months, but try to do so. So envisage your ideal team structure, how you want it to be in 1 year, in 2 years. What type of people, what type of approach to their work, what type of people you want to hire, so they can grow professionally as your startup scales. It's very important. When you're choosing your current employees, have your future employees in mind, because they are going to shape your corporate culture, they're going to shape your future team, and startup performance is about startup team. If startup has a great technology, great idea, something that no one has ever thought, but they have poor execution, it's not going to work. And last point, startup is not about just technology, it's about customers. In 99% of the time, you're going to need people who are customer-centric. I even say that development team should also have this customer centricity and belief in good customer experience, because what they are building, it's the end user is your customer. Let's talk about personalities. Okay, we found great people who are good professionals in their field, but we should think about personalities because they matter a lot. And the way you can be friends with someone you don't share much in common, like you don't think the same way, or you don't share, measure, and most important principal values, then you're not going to be able to do business. It will be quite hard. I won't say that it's not going to be to happen, but look for people who you are comfortable working with. And I'm talking about not about 100 employee, or like you hire 300 people and you're hiring 301 more. That might not be very important, but when you are hiring your core team, even choosing a co-founder, personalities matter a lot. So what is your role as a founder? In fact, you are your startup's initial team. You set up, or you, I mean, not just yourself, but maybe you have a co-founder or team of co-founders. So you are your startup's initial team. You set up your culture, you create the brand, the employer brand. Employer brand is how the potential candidate, your potential employee envisages you, understands you, it's their perception of you. So keep that in mind. If you are the way you are, or the way the core team, co-founders team is, the company's corporate culture is going to be very much like what you guys believe in. Successful startups had leaders who inspired people. This is very, very important. And if we start to look for like success stories and cases, we will find out that majority of them had leaders who were very, very inspiring. Of course, if the product that you're building is not inspiring you, then it's definitely not going to inspire others and inspire to invest their time, which is the most valuable asset that we have. Startups are about uncertainty, and make sure to always communicate this to your co-founders and people you hire, because it's very important to set up the right expectations. For example, in our case, we were already successful for quite a bit of time, but I would also keep telling my team that we don't relax. It can be changed over a month or over 2 months. So the startups are about uncertainty, and everyone should be ready for that. Think big. Think big is very, very important. And if you're not thinking big, what does it mean to think big? It means that you should target larger markets, you should target larger problems, but you have to have the capability to do that. And not only capability, but also desire, because everything comes to having a great desire to do something really cool and something really big. Let's talk about diversity. What does it mean, and why I want to highlight that. Diversity means that you need to have people who are challenging each other, who can have different points of view around the same thing. And not having diversity can be in a way disastrous, destructive for the company. And if you it's not just like about gender, religious views. It's about accepting different perceptions with the team, listening to each other, trying to bring new solutions to traditional problems, for example. So if you fail to create a diverse team, then you won't have much room for creativity. Everyone will have the same blind spots. Everyone will agree with you and no one will push back. There is no pushback in your team, so you end up with doing something that is just very limited in terms of being challenged. I can bring an example. You're launching a marketing campaign, something that all of you will be doing at some point. And you haven't looked at how this marketing campaign will be perceived by your potential users, customers from different angles. And then you end up having misperception, people not understanding what you wanted, what your message should have been. An interesting case study from Zappos CEO, he paid $2,000 to its employees after the first week of trainings, if they agreed to quit at that point. So what was the story? They were hiring massively for their call center, and they would pass like 2 or 3 months of training and before actually going to work. And then after the first week or so, the CEO would tell guys, if someone thinks that they want to quit right now, I'm paying you, so you can leave. And what does it mean? It means that there is a critical, important principle in startups: hire slow, fire fast. What does it mean? It means that you should not settle for someone who's not right fit for the team. It is better to spend a bit more time looking for someone that you believe is a better fit, because when you hire someone just in a rush, then you're going to lose money on replacement. Replacement is quite costly. And if you spend a bit more time on recruitment, if you spend a bit more time on analyzing the job description, really taking your time to explain to your potential candidate via a job description what they should be doing, it will really save you a lot of time. And if you notice that a team member is a bad hire, that can happen with everyone, there is no benefit to waiting for months. And of course, someone might not agree and tell, okay, you should go ahead and do some training and coaching, etc., to make sure that these people are getting on track. Maybe they will start to perform very well, but in most cases, it doesn't work that way. And you just need to tell them that it's over and then look for someone else. Choosing top employees, top performance, not top employees, but top performance. Performance is quite important, especially for the initial team, because startups are all about having good performance culture and being able to achieve a lot more during a shorter period of times. Of course, sometimes it's simply a matter of training, and you train someone, or for example, we had a case where we had really good fit, good employee in all senses, but then we noticed that this person was losing motivation. And then we talked and we found out that another department was a lot more interesting. And then we changed the position. And this person was a good performer and started to work better in that position. So training and looking for more efficient ways to leverage the power of your team are things that you will be dealing all the time. Let's get to part 2. Anna-Jan, should we have questions now, or should we
yes,
wait?
like guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them either in chat or like just unmute yourself. Any questions?
Okay,
then I think we can proceed to the next part while people will think of
let's continue. What is a winning team? I will be talking about 6 cornerstones of a winning startup team. Look closely at this picture, at this photo. We will be talking about this. So the first one is that everybody should be headed to the same direction, like in the boat with the crew and the guide, like this boat. See, there is a guide sitting there who doesn't have these pedals, and then the team are looking all the same direction and listening to the guide, the instructor. The speed and the balance of the boat will depend on the crew and the person guiding the crew. If the person guiding the crew is super duper, doing everything right and being really fabulous, but the team lacks the speed or the balance, then the boat will, fail at least. The same way is about startups. Always think about your startup and people who you hire as this boat. The second one is there should be a common goal to succeed. If you don't have a clearly set direction and aren't measuring progress along the way, then there are a lot of mistakes that you can make. You might say that, but startups are about pivoting, then I might change direction, etc. Yes, you can change the direction, but the end result, the goal, for example, you want to become profitable in 1 year, in 2 years, or you're going to have the best team in the city in 2 years, you're going to exit in 5 years, you're going to become a unicorn in 10 years. This is very important to have in mind, and most importantly, communicate this to your team so that they are aware as well. The third one is don't just play the game to play. You should have very structured teams with good passion on high work ethics. Work ethics is a lot more important for startups if we compare it to corporate companies. Because in corporate companies, there might be like 2, 3, 4 people doing the same job. While in startups, it's usually one, especially when you are just taking off. You're a startup, you're not a scale-up yet. So good structure, people understanding who is responsible for what, in good work ethics, it's going to be very important. And most importantly, you're not just going to request this, to demand this from your team, but you as a co-founder should have this on the first place. This fourth point is connected with the third one. You have to have defined roles. Of course, it's sometimes hard to leave the structure very strict And it's not going to be possible to have a strong matrix organization in a startup, but still you can define role groups or a bit general responsibility set for your company, for your team members. And it's important to also set good practice of collaboration between your team so that you also develop, like, build your team along the way. Fifth point is find people who will do the job better than you can. It's very important. Why you will hire new team members? Because there will be things at some point that they will be doing better than you. And it doesn't mean that you are weak. It doesn't mean that you are not worth being co-founder. It just means that as you scale and as you grow, there will be tasks that you can't do everything yourself, and look for people who are really good at doing that thing and who are better than you. And don't be afraid of being challenged by good and strong employees. In my corporate world where I worked, I saw a lot of times when managers would be afraid of that I hope that you accept that just without any proof. But if not, at some point, if you continue doing what you do now, then you will surely get to this, that you should inspire and lead with your example. What does this mean? It means that you are the one that everyone looks at. You're a role model for your team. And even if it might sound a bit romantic, etc., but it's still the case. In fact, startups have a bit of some sort of romanticism, for sure, because you're starting something from scratch. You have a big idea in which you believe, and you want to just go ahead and change the world, for example. So inspire and lead with your example. Inspire your team, motivate your team to go the extra mile, be a role model, and you will be a winner. You will have a winning team for sure. Sorry for a bit of noise. It's now over. And to sum up the 6 cornerstones of an effective team building, let's look at some mistakes that companies do, not companies, but startups do and co-founders do, and how we can avoid it. First one is sometimes startups focus on customers a lot more, and they forget about team management, about hiring, and put a lot less effort. And it's not right, because you have to start with your hiring and with your team management. If you have motivated staff on place and they know, they are guided, they understand what they are here for, they understand what the company wants from them, then you can be sure that they will deliver the same message to customer. Especially if you are service company and a lot of effort is put there, then it's more important. It becomes more important. And the second one, don't build a team where everyone is are like each other. We've talked about it, but I want to stress that again. And the third point is be strategic. This is something that we also do, and I know that startups, for example, I was talking to a recruitment, again, a startup in HRTech. They were doing a bit more different product. And this guy told me that prior to starting the startup, for a couple of months, he was thinking about what kind of people he will need in 6 months, in 12 months, in 24 months. And he told me that when he started, he didn't change a lot that pace. He got to 500 startups as a result, and he's quite a successful startupper, and he has presence in Silicon Valley, in Russia, and in Japan. Don't try to spend much on perks and benefits. This is mainly a thing of startups who are starting to hire like a couple of people at the same time. They want to look very cool, to have these perks, etc. Okay, if you have this investment and you are okay, you know that you will be able to raise again, or you'll be able to get revenue and you can afford it, it's great to nurture the team, to have good perks. But don't concentrate on that. A lot of startups have this problem with high burn out rates. So think a bit more about nurturing your team as a good leader. Make decisions that are right for them. For example, whenever we do an interview, especially with a bit more like high-level employees, candidates, they would also tell that an important part of our choice is that we want career development and we want the environment to help us to develop our skills. So if you want a team that will be high performing for a long period of time, then you should avoid the mistake of just paying much for tangible things and less for things that really matter for your team. We should not overwork people. This is very important. I have seen a lot of teams overworking, then they have this burnout, founder team burnout. It's actually one of 10 reasons startups fail. And overworking is bad in different perspectives. First of all, you lose your interest at some point because you're tired, you don't believe in your idea anymore, you don't believe in your team, and this is like the case of founder burnout. Team burnout, the worst scenario is that they will leave you, and a scenario when they will still stay with you, but they will have less productivity. It might be misleading that if we work 10 hours instead of 8, we will manage to do a lot more. Yes, it's possible, but for a shorter period of time. Of course, for every team, especially if it's a startup team, we're seeing, we're having a stage. I myself had this stage where I had to overwork, but it was like for a couple of months, that's it. And the last point, a mistake to avoid, never forget that the co-founder is the one entirely responsible for the team, responsible for inspiring the team. And if the team doesn't work well, at some point, co-founder also has, I don't want to say fault, but somehow they have this, they can fix it, at least fix it at some point. So these are the mistakes to avoid. And the third part of our task, of our presentation, is collaborating on the task that you should be finishing. Anajan, I noticed some questions. If I'm not wrong, should we get to the questions or what?
Yeah, sure. If we have questions, we can take them now. Okay. Guys, any questions? Be active. Anita, do you have any question? Christian, Daniel?
No, I'm good. I'm good as of now.
Okay, we have a question. Let's read it. Developing. Well, I had some saying that my voice, it's not, they lost my voice. Just you can interrupt me at that point, guys, and tell me that you lost my voice. Or Anna Jan, you follow that. And let's go to the question. Developing team is critical and hiring and training takes lots of effort. How long do you think we should give the new hire enough time to settle down and excel at their job? It depends. First of all, thank you for the question, but it depends on which position you have hired. If you have hired for a junior position, then you should be hiring someone who will, learn on their own and don't take a lot of effort from your end. But as a rule of thumb, for example, I always tell that for a role, if you're hiring for a role and you don't want, you want your job to be done, hire people that are high performance and are skilled in their work. So I would expect like within a month, an employee should be already showing some results. Of course, if it's something very, I don't know, too technical, something that they need to learn from scratch, maybe some new technology or anything else that doesn't exist outside, you bring people and you train them, then you know better how much time you will need. Any recommended tool for employee performance management? There are different software. Mainly these software are on enterprise level. It will be hard for me to name a few, but we're going to have a Slack channel. I will research and I will find and will let you know. They don't just come as a tool for employee performance management. They come as a package. They have also, these companies offer also other tools for employee performance management. Most important, to be able to measure your employee performance, you have to have a good system inside your company. So you need to have an understanding where you want to see your employee in 6 months, in 12 months, maybe in 18 months. And then you need to clearly understand how that is aligned with the growth and the scale of your startup, because they should be aligned. Put some goals. I don't like the word KPIs because it's a bit outdated in startups and agile environments, but still you need to give a clear understanding to your employees, and then after that measure their performance. I hope I answered your question. Okay, do we have any further questions that are not written but you would like to just ask? I will be happy. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, then Anna John, if you don't mind, let's continue.
Sure.
Okay, so the third part is the task, and before Anna John, does the team know the details of the task or what information they have?
No, they don't have any information. Are we doing the task now, or this is a follow-up to this session?
No, it's a follow-up. I'm just explaining what they should do and what is optional and what is.
So, guys, general, I'll be opening a Slack channel for this session. Luiza will be invited to join the channel, and please follow the guidelines because you will be having a deadline and you will have to submit this task. So please make sure to follow how you should complete it, because after the session we have many questions generated. And by the way, we have another entrepreneurial program during which we did this task with our teams. And in fact, many of the teams use this task to build their teams and like to post job announcements and to hire new people. So this is in fact very effective. If you do it now, you will not have to recreate everything next time. You will just copy and paste from your task to actual world.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Anajan. So it's basically what we will be doing is we will be understanding what team members we will need in the coming months and understand the structure and job descriptions, etc. And before we start the practical part, let's see some tips that will help you with hiring, because all startups are about hiring. At some point, you are going to hire new people. So the first one is your network. Is the first place to go for the initial team hiring. You know these people, they know you, they have more trust. For example, we found our first employee through our first 2-3 employees through our network. Then staff.am was ready, it was generating already results, and the others were mainly hired through the platform, but we used network as well. So hire through your network, but please be watch out to not have like all people like you and lose the diversity part. Think of people who have different perspectives. The second one, employer brand. I told you about employer brand. It's how your potential employee, your candidate sees you. It's how the market perceives you as a company, as an employer. So this is your employer brand. Just for an information, big companies in the US, in Europe, so just big corporate companies, they spend many thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars yearly to promote their employer brand. And what it brings them is more recognition in the markets they operate. And employer brand helps attracting the right talent, because different companies have different messages to the market. For one company, it's important that the market sees them as a company with flexible working hours, with a lot of like democracy, with a lot of that kind of stuff. Then another company wants to position itself as a very tough place where people come and they become really great professionals, and they can leave for like better positions, like managerial positions, etc. So it's the entire ecosystem. It's called employer brand, and you are going to use it. But since this is a startup, you just started, your product or your technology of what you do, it's going to be your first package of employer brand, if I can say so. It's going to attract your first employees, because people are interested to create something cool, to be part of something great, and while positioning your product as a good one, you can attract less people. Be very selective where you post your vacancies. It's very important. Even if you have just started, take it very seriously. People remember everything, and it's going to be costly to clean, to have better image after you failed it or broke it. So be very selective. Make sure that the text you wrote, like your job description, is very well thought and structured. Startups mainly use like friendly language when they are communicating their message, their employer brand message. Try to include like some cool stuff that, you know, we're doing this great thing in agri-tech and we're looking for people who are passionate about, I don't know, this field. So if it's about you, let's join and let's change the world, etc. And if you can afford at some point paid platforms like ours, then you should. It will also bring visibility to your company. So you're not just going to get, and you're going to post in different countries and in different platforms. It will also bring you some visibility. And the fourth one, make sure your company's social media channels like LinkedIn and Facebook are in good shape. Do share information through these channels. I can assure you that a lot of candidates are paying attention on these things. We are receiving on daily basis requests, inquiries from our users asking, what does this company do? They don't have any information on the website, they don't have a Facebook, and of course this company will end up having either small amount of applications or irrelevant or low quality applications. So whenever you're ready to go and to hire your next team members, make sure you have done your homework very well and you are prepared. This will take some time from you, but I assure you it will pay off for sure. So I'm here, you see our a sample structure. It's called organizational structure. When I was working for a bank, their organizational chart had was on 5 different pages and 8 different levels. But startup teams, they have simple structure, more transparent and lighter. So here, this startup has a technical team and sales and marketing team. Then the tech team has UI UX developers, product project management, and the numbers that you see is number of people that work for this company. Then the sales and marketing team consists of 3 different sub-teams, sub-departments, which is marketing, sales, and communications. The task for your startups is to create this chart for 12 months after you start your operations. Why 12 months? Because at that point you will have you will not just be yourself, you will need more employees. You can go a bit further, create it for 18 months, it's up to you. But the thing here is that think about what type of professionals, what fields of expertise your company, your startup is going to need from 12 months, in 12 months from now. It's a good exercise because when you will be doing this, you will understand that some points are covered by you, by yourself, so you're doing a lot of cool things. Then you will understand that there are lots of things that you're not going to be able to cover. For example, if you are agri-tech, like a technologist, and you understand technology very well, you have great idea, you have degree in chemistry or whatever, but you lack marketing or sales skills. You are not going to be able to manage your social media channels. Or you're not going to be able to speak with vendors because you don't like sales and you don't do it. So think about your structure from that perspective, what kind of employees and what expertise I'm going to need. And this part is partly optional. I will explain you what it means. Here is the structure of your team's job descriptions. You will be creating one job description for any position you want within your company, within your startup. Of course, that position should be one of these. So if it's marketing or if it's product or project management, then here it will be like product or project management or marketing. So you're going to put job position, how many years of experience you want, grade, you can put it or leave it blank, whether this person is a people manager or just a specialist. And then you should put main responsibilities, skills, and professional development goals. If you decide to create these job descriptions for more than one position, I will be happy to review these job descriptions and provide some comments from my side. But it's not mandatory. You just need to complete this for just one job position. And then if I were you, I would just choose a position that I'm going to need first. But it's up to you. You decide. We don't put we don't give any limitations here. Last time, as Anna said, we had this for the previous cohort, and I received very interesting input, and I'm glad that Anna says that they have used it later on to actually hire people through this job description. So feel
Yes.
free.
So guys, let's summarize. You need to submit your chart, and you need to submit one job description. You can like submit other job descriptions as well, but only one is mandatory. The others are optional. And just post it on Slack. I'll open a channel. I think the deadline is Sunday, maybe.
Yeah, you guys decide. It can be Friday.
Yes, let's keep the Sunday deadline.
Okay. And if you don't have any further questions, my presentation was this long, and I will be happy to answer your questions now if you have any.
Guys, any questions? Clinton, Gevorg, any questions? We'll wait like for 2 minutes.
Okay, sure.
Would you like to suggest some guidelines for the positions that needs to be hired in the first year of the startup, or the size of the employees, the size of the team in the first year?
I'm not sure I got the question right. So if I got you right, you were asking if I'm going to suggest any guidelines of how to write the job description. Was that right?
No.
No?
The guidelines about how many people should be hired in the first year itself.
No, it's very individual, in fact, because it depends on your product, on your growth rate. If I am creating an application, like an iOS and Android application, that is going to solve a question, a problem, and it needs to be done in 6 months, then you're going to hire a lot of people, like 5 people, 6 people to do the job. But if this is a technology that requires gathering a lot of data with regards to some, I don't know, maybe with rain or some other agriculture related things, then your hiring might not be that fast, and it really depends on the industry.
All right. So some kind of manpower budgeting has to be done.
Yes, of course, that's for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you too. Equity options, okay, we've got a question in our chat. We got some questions. Let's start. First one is for technical startups with 2 co-founders with technical background. What do you suggest to first hire should be, and what academic background? I would definitely suggest, if you guys, both of you are like in technology, I would suggest to hire someone who is good at marketing, sales, customer development, maybe operations, because you will be very busy building your startup in terms of technology, and you need someone who will take care of the rest. I would even suggest, if you don't mind, to take someone as a co-founder, like a third co-founder, and be more like rest assured that that part will be covered. If you don't do that, then one of two technical co-founders at some point need to leave temporary what they do and get to doing sales and marketing. Okay. So next question, equity options for vital early employees. How does one decide how much to give? Well, there are like industry standards. It depends on how you evaluate your business, your startup. For example, in 1 year or in 3 years or in 10 years, what your company's valuation, your startup valuation will be. And based on that, for example, there are cases starting from 0.1% up to 2-3%. You can just Google and see they are some examples and some industry standards. And also there are cases when someone is joining you without any remuneration. You don't pay them at the beginning, and then you give them higher, more shares, more equity. Or if you are paying remuneration, you're paying salary, but you want this as like a benefit, loyalty benefit, then you can give less. Oh, did I answer your question? Okay, I hope I did. Yeah, thank you. Okay, any more questions? We can wait a bit.
Yes, like guys, we'll wait 1 or 2 minutes
Okay.
before wrapping up the session.
Mm-hmm.
I think we don't have any more questions. I'll be opening the channel, and if you have still questions, you can address them to Luiza. Also, I suggest following Luiza on LinkedIn. Maybe she has connections that can be useful for you. And maybe she can do some introductions, or I don't know, provide with useful information to you out of the scope of this program. So, Luiza Jan, we were as usual happy to host you.
Thank you, Anajan.
I hope to see your comments to our people's tasks. And just like a disclaimer to everyone who are in this session, guys, this is like one of our final sessions. We will have 3 and 4 more sessions, and we will have a demo day probably on September 9, but we are not yet confirmed about the date. So that's it. We are super excited to like conclude the program, and Luiza's session was a valuable contribution to it.
Thank you.
Have a nice day, and for who it's a day, and have a good night for whoever it's night time.
Thank
Bye.
you, Anajan. Thank you, guys. It was my pleasure. And yes, you can reach me via LinkedIn. I will try to do my best to help you. I wish you all good luck, and believe in your idea. And